Welcome to Vikings football with head coach Bruce Barnum as the Portland State Vikings get ready for a home game this Saturday. They're back at Hillsborough Stadium taking on Sacramento State. That game is at 2 p.m. and you can see it on ESPN+, but come on out and see the Vikings. They're coming off a road victory. Coach, let's talk real quick about that road victory before we talk about the Hornets. The Vikings go down to Cal Poly, lead virtually the entire game. You got a great effort on both sides of the football and came away with a win. Your initial thoughts on that game?
The effort, it was fun to watch. There's some great performances, taking advantage of some situations on all sides of the ball. But I was proud of them. I was proud of the program. We've been on the schneid. We got off it. But defense from Carson's, National Player of the Week, and offense, we saw DeLon finally healthy, take off. Had a couple guards up front, freshmen on offense that played well. Then special teams, we snuffed a fake punt, There's good plays all over. We made it interesting at the end, but we got to keep that fan base excited and watching.
All right, the Vikings, season highs of 502 yards, 242 on the ground, 40 points. You say a run to win. What was the difference this past week in terms of just that elevation of production?
Again, I think all around effort, Mike, and there were some changes up front. We had some guys play that haven't played yet. They got healthy, helped our production on offense. Defensively, I think they've been fighting and chugging, and everybody on Saturday tries to throw at Karsten. He makes plays, but it was fun to watch. I'm proud that they've stuck together after a rough season up to that point, but to see them celebrate, I can't buy that. That was priceless.
All right, you mentioned a couple names. Let's talk about those guys real quick. DeLon Thompson, you knew he was going to be your key back. Injured early in the season, that slowed him down. He finally had that explosive game, 234 total yards, rushing and receiving 4 touchdowns. What a performance, as good a performance as we've seen from a back in quite some time.
It is, and again, I was happy to see him from the broken hand to the hamstring to everything he's gone through, his foot, his back, to have him come up, that week and say, hey, I feel good. He doesn't say much, Mike, don't get me wrong, but to see him healthy, it changes some things. And again, it's not easy to do. You can't do what he did without the guys up front, from our tight end group, and up front, holding blocks and getting after it, was allowed him to do that. And he can catch, more consistent now because he doesn't have a cast on his hands. So he got some out of the backfield as well.
All right, and on the defensive side, Karsten Mammerl at cornerback, smallest guy on the defense, 5'9", 180 pounds. He ends up being the National Defensive Player of the Week, 2 interceptions, 3 pass breakups. You alluded to it. They kept throwing at him, which was a mistake because he kept making plays. And how about the way he elevated his game?
I can't. That's been that way, all year. You see him, and he forgot the height line when they made him up there. So people see that and they try to attack him, and he responds well. But to see him, I've seen him do it in practice. I've seen him do it in games, and now to get some true production everybody else sees with the pass breakups and the interception, that's pretty cool.
All right, the Vikings get the win at Cal Poly. Now they want to come home and do the same thing for the home fans. We're taking a look at Sacramento State, Coach. The first thing you notice about Sacramento State is a great running game. They lead the Big Sky in rushing. They have a quarterback who throws it well, but he's also one of their key running backs. And they've gone to about 4 different guys on the ground. Talk about that challenge for your defense this week to stop that run game.
It's been a challenge for everybody. Now it's coming to our place, You have to admire how they run the football, especially, me. I think Coach Marion and the crew, if they could, they wouldn't throw it all day, just run to win. So that's what they're doing. It's going to be a challenge to stop. It's going to be a tough game, but we have to, if we're going to have a chance to win this Saturday, we're going to have to stop the run, or at least slow it down.
All right. And on your side of football, of course, you're all about the offense. Their defense makes big plays. They lead the Big Sky in sacks with 31. I'm sure that's a big concern for you. And they're one of the top teams in just holding down total yardage. So they've made a lot of big plays. I believe 5 defensive touchdowns. You got to protect your quarterback, certainly. Talk about the challenge you have on offense.
I usually mention a front 7. But this week I'll mention all 11. They're pretty good. It's all new faces. I think they have one guy in that defense from last year, so we had to watch a little more film just to get to know who they are and how to maybe find a weakness. But they're talented up front. They play all kinds of guys in the back end. I like 12 the best. Corner, he's my favorite. I don't know what the hell his name is, but he's a good football player, but they're all talented. From 2 up front, their backers are solid. So that will be a challenge. They're going to meet our freshmen. Our freshmen play tough. So we'll see what we can do.
Well, it's got to be a big challenge because, last year the Vikings won down in Sacramento, scored 58 points, but it's a very new and different team, another new coaching staff, a lot of new guys to look at on that roster. That must mean a lot of extra time in the film room for the coaching staff.
Well, it's a new team. He took advantage of the portal. Good for them. In fact, we have one of them. We got LJ, who I love. I'm glad they got rid of LJ because he's playing well for us. So that side of it's new. Last year does not compare to this year. Just again because of their personnel. He's done his outlook on recruiting, and he's raised the talent at Sacramento State.
All right, Coach. As we head into that game, a very talented team. They're fighting for the postseason right now. They need more wins. They've got a shot at it if they can perhaps win out. The running game is going to be really, really good, so I'm going to ask you keys to the game. I have to believe you're going to start with stopping their run or at least slowing it down a little bit.
It is. We can't let them score on, the big ones, Mike. It's going to be a shorter game because of what they do, so we're going to have to make sure we take advantage when we have the football of moving the chains and matriculating down the field and getting in the end zone. We've been all right between the 20s, but this week specifically, if we're able to do that production, we need to make sure we get in the end zone. And then after that, if we can pop a couple, they're doing all kinds of stuff on special teams. They had a fake punt a couple weeks ago that was wide open. They've always got something you have to look at on special teams, and they do something every week. So there's something for the crowd to watch. See if we can put a damper on that like we did last week. But turnovers, again, we have to move the chains. We have to keep our offense on the field best we can and see if we can score more than them in the end.
All right.
That was a long-ass answer, Mike.
That was a long answer. Well, I'm used to that from you. All right, the Vikings are home this week. They're going to be looking for another victory. Sacramento State, 2 p.m. Saturday, Hillsborough Stadium. You can see it on ESPN+. If you're in town, please come to the game and come to the Friday football luncheon at Old Spaghetti Factory. That's at noon. For all your information on Vikings football, go to govikes.com.
We're gonna run. Let's go.